All right, everybody, welcome to Teaching Crypto. Please hit that like, that subscribe, bell notification. Super chats are open. We hit 120K recently, just a couple days ago, but we've had a bit of a retrace and we had some breaking news politically and economically that might affect the bull run. So we're going to talk about that. I'm still confident that we have some runway here till October. But like I said, Mr. FOMO, right now, Bitcoin is at $117,864. Alts, as of the last hour, have taken a bit of a hit here. So, what is your reaction? We'll get into the news here. Are you concerned?
I'm not really concerned. This is kind of the market taking a breather, um, and if it's taking a breather based on the news that we're about to talk about, then it makes perfect sense. But even during the bull run, it doesn't go straight up, and so we have to give the market a chance to gain some ground, take a breather, gain some more ground, take another breather. It's going to be a while before we get to things like 150 or beyond. um, it happens relatively quickly, but not up and up and up every single day.
No, absolutely not. And I'm still holding on to the 150, 180 as my prediction. And I look, my prediction for this month was what? Worst case, 125, but I would have loved to seen 130. You know, the 125, we're going to have to do some work. It's the 23rd, right? You got
Hmm.
to 7, 8 days to go. All right, here's the news. And Bitcoin's actually holding fairly strong, but here's the deal. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Department of Justice has told Donald Trump he is in the Epstein files, and supposedly this happened in May. His name appeared several times. Now, Mr. FOMO, I reached out to Pam Bondi a couple hours ago while you were busy. She declined to come on the show. Okay. Her representative said, "Who are you again?" And, I said, "Oh, I think we've heard of you, but we're going to decline for now." So today, no Pam Bondi, unfortunately. Too busy looking for the files on her desk. But we laugh, but this could be one of the biggest cover-ups in U.S. history. Just to give you a timeline, this was a promise from the president that he was going to release the files. They did a fake release full of binders that was pretty much information that was already released, that was pretty much all blacked out. Those fake binders they gave out, that photo op. Then we were told there were no files. And then a couple days later, Bongino almost resigned.
So did Cash Patel.
And Cash Patel almost resigned. And supposedly Bondi was on the hot seat. Now here we are. And if this is true, Trump did threaten a major lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. If this is true, he's known about this since May. It stinks. It looks horrible. And who knows what's in the report? We have no idea. We and you have not seen the report. We'd be lying if we did. But it can't be good, right? It can't be good. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. But the bottom line is Trump is not the only one on this report, right? There's several rumors that Clinton and other high-level U.S. officials have been blackmailed. And, we're being withheld information as Americans, and that's just not right. And it goes to transparency about weakening the dollar through printing. This is just another example. It's really frustrating to me because we don't stand up and say enough is enough. We go through our daily lives and we normalize this and we pretend that this is not happening.
Yeah, I want to see a little bit more. I'd like to see this breaking on the Wall Street Journal's X page. But unusual whales, I guess, is credible enough.
Well, it's been reported by several different outlets. So this, I'm not worried about that not being true. I'll just let you know right now.
Yeah, but I think a lot of normal thinking Americans and people around the world have assumed this was true already. I mean, if you don't belong to the cult of Trump, then and you have a somewhat open mind, you've
Well,
at least seen him in
we
the
do
pictures and
know.
the videos with the man.
Well, we do know they had a friendship, but according
Right.
to him, the friendship ended before let's backtrack. Let's be factual. Trump claims he was never on the island. Maybe he was not on the island, but there have been leaked reports that he'd been on the plane as many as 6 times, right? And then we have Elon Musk when he gets into it with Trump saying, "Hey, by the way, you're on the list." Now, there's no doubt in my mind he's probably on the list, but why is he on the list? It's not, but this is not just about Trump, you see. It's not just about Republicans or Democrats because they're both complicit here. It's about the system being rotten to the core. In fact, they're taking a vacation to September just to delay a vote on how they're going
to release the files, which
it's
is
ridiculous. I mean, how many Americans can just say, "Oh, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to take 8 weeks off." I mean, come on. And you're paying for it. These guys have amazing salaries, amazing benefits. You don't have to worry about going to the doctor or the dentist and paying any of those things. It's corrupt to the core. And I just think, I know this is a crypto channel. I just think people are tired, I know I am, of being lied to and being told it's not a big deal.
Yeah, just to be clear, I know I talked about the cult of Trump there, but just to be clear, I don't care what politician is on that list. If they did something nefarious, they belong in jail. Clinton, Trump, whoever. If they were involved in the child sex trafficking that went on with Jeffrey Epstein, then they should be in jail. And I think we should hear from people like Ghislaine Maxwell, and we should be able to see these files, and we should be able to look into these things as Americans. And I don't think we should be waiting 8 weeks for them to vote on it. I think this should be happening right now.
Just to add a little bit of the intrigue, because remember last week we talked about the fact that the jail cell tape, according to Wired magazine, was altered using Adobe, which is pretty pathetic considering
nothing would surprise me anymore.
They can hire the most sophisticated people using technology, and that was the best they were able to come up with. Yesterday, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not, Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer is now dead. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I
didn't hear about that.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't have more details. He wasn't an elderly man. He just, he's dead. So we'll see. We'll hold on to this. As of right now, until more noise comes out or more news, I don't think it's going to kill the market. But we're going to have to wait and see. I don't think it's going to be a black swan, but right now we are at 117. And just an example, iOS Network, which with disclosure I'm in, 50 cents yesterday, right now 40 cents. Dogecoin was pushing 30 back to 24. Injected pushing 15 back to 13. XRP, I did a short earlier today talking about a $5 XRP. We're all the way back to 313. It's funny. I'm looking at my portfolio. One of the small things that is going crazy, Carrot right now is pushing 7 cents. I mean, it's way down, but it's just interesting. It's MrFOMO right now. Carrot is the #1 gainer on certain areas. So that just tells you where we're at.
It's not a good day. I'm going to push back real quick on the black swan comment. I think if the president turns out to be on this list and it's verified, I think it absolutely would cause a black swan event. I think it would drive a lot of markets down, not just the Bitcoin.
But for temporarily, I think. I don't think it's a multi-week, multi-month. Do you?
No. But I do believe it would cause a sell-off.
You're probably right. You could see a 10 to 15% haircut. I'm talking about Bitcoin. Alts don't even get. So I mean, I want the truth to come out, but if it doesn't happen till October, and we can get a bull run in, maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so I just put this up. This is an example of how Bitcoin is slowly but surely gaining momentum. All right. So here, public company Vulcan just raised $500 million to buy Bitcoin. It's not that Vulcan is this huge company, but we're seeing more and more. Ohio retirees bought some Michael Saylor stock the other day. We weren't on the air. some micro strategy. So you're just seeing slowly, Mr. FOMO. I see it like it's a small trickle. And next thing we'll know, look back from 10 years from now, and everyone will have a little bit of Bitcoin. Even the 75-year-old lady that barely knows how to use her phone will be holding a little bit of Bitcoin through her bank. We talked about banks can now offer Bitcoin. I forgot to talk about this. PNC, Mr. FOMO, is partnering with Coinbase. So if you are a PNC customer, you won't need a Coinbase account pretty soon in the next couple months. It'll automatically integrate with Coinbase. So you'll be able to buy crypto right on your PNC bank account. And I think more and more banks, they might not use Coinbase, but we talked about the fact that legally now they can all offer Bitcoin. They're going to be crazy not to.
I think you're right. I think seeing PNC go through that step and move forward that way, game theory suggests the rest of the banks are soon to follow.
I mean, PNC kind of jumped into the deep end. They didn't just offer Bitcoin. They're off. I mean, you can go right now. Not right now. It's not live, but you'll be able to go in and buy Peng Yu. So, that's by the way, Peng Yu, guys, is a bit of a retrace because of today as well. It made a run towards 3 billion. We first talking about this at 1 billion. So if you had bought when we first brought it up, you had tripled your money. We said do your own research. I kind of liked it, to be honest with you. A lot of my funds were already tied down, but I wish I had some Peng Yu. In fact, I might look into moving some stuff around possibly and getting some because it's on a bit of a retrace here. It's still doing really well, but it's been the darling of the crypto market, and we haven't spoken a while. But this month, Mr. FOMO, Peng Yu is up 341%. And
I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong. I said at 1 billion, I didn't see how much more it had to grow, but it proved me wrong at that point. So,
the daily volumes for this thing are always pushing past 3 billion. So people are trading it. Yeah, people are trading it. It is this cycle's ApeCoin. That's what it is. Remember Doge and ApeCoin? You had Doge at the beginning, then you had Shiba Inu, then you had Ape. This is one of the darlings of the cycle. Now, who knows? The lights are going to come off at some point, right? The penguin's not going to be living in luxury forever. But for now, it's having a hell of a summer. And I anticipate, look, I still think this thing could make a run between 5 and 10 billion before it's all said and done. Because I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of influencers pushing these things, and that means they probably have money in this. Now, eventually they will all exit, but they wouldn't be pushing this if they didn't have some skin in the game.
Yeah. And that's a good point. Be careful with things like these because you see all these influencers pushing them. They all have already bought way before you did. And so be careful listening to what they say about how high it can go and how far it can go. I would still temper my expectations. I think maybe I was wrong, and maybe this still has a little bit more legs in it once we get through this breather. But I would be careful.
By the way, one of your favorites, Muse. This is kind of crazy. It was pumping hard the other day. I contacted you. I know you were out of town. And Muse, Mr. FOMO, got all the way up to $12.63. It's now back to $8.76. We talked about taking profits. If you had bought Muse at 7 and you saw it go to 12, you didn't take profits, you've already lost a huge chunk. And I think that's the way the bull run's going to go. So we
did talk about Muse at 7. And we said it was a buy at that point because, and this is strictly because, not because Muse does anything that we think is special in the market, but strictly because we've seen Muse go on these heaters where it's 1, 2, 3 afternoons, and this thing will catch fire sometimes all the way up to, I think it went to 27 at one point. And so when you see it catch fire like that, take your profits, get out, wait for it to come back down because it's obviously going to do that. That's the price action of Muse.
Well, not only that, I'm looking at Carrot right now, and in 1 month, it's gone up 92%. Now, it had been destroyed over the past 6 months, but because the cap had gotten so low, there was just a ton of room. I mean, even now I'm looking, the cap is 22 billion, but we told you Carrot at 11 million, even during the war, you may want to look at that one, and it's doubled. So you've doubled your money if you got that. Again, it's not what you buy all the time, it's when you buy it. You bought Bitcoin when we were talking about it at 20K. You're not worried about any of this stuff right now, because if Bitcoin is a major part of your portfolio, you're doing okay. All right. But let's hope the alts do recover. All right. More and more evidence, drip, 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 that digital assets are here to stay. Goldman Sachs, BNY to launch digital tokens tied to money market funds. I think this stable coins are going to be a huge factor in making some money. You want to keep it to this channel because there's going to be incentives to use these stable coins. And when when things get tokenized, I think early on, if you're an early adapter, you're going to have a huge advantage of the people that get in 3, 6, 12 months later. So you want to keep it here. That's why I advocate taking a look at Avalanche because of their New Jersey contract. At some point, if this New Jersey thing is true, I mean, it is true, but if they actually go through with it, because sometimes partnerships are announced, but it's just not, it doesn't actually happen like the press release. But if it does happen like the press release, Avalanche is going to be gigantically undervalued right now.
And we've always said that there's a lot out there that can be tokenized. And so seeing Goldman Sachs and BNY tokenize these money market funds is just the first step. It's the tip of the iceberg. You're going to see a lot more things become tokenized. And so get in on it. Get in on the action.
Well, listen, guys, any way you can support the show, we'll keep hounding Pam Bondi and Voyager at the same time to see if we can get we can get information from either of them. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Super chats are open. So are the store. We really appreciate all your support. Check out my short on XRP and keep it here for the very latest, guys. I think we got a long way to go between now and October. Don't get worried about today.